My parents forced me to live my life in an RV with them, stopping me from having any real friends, so 10 years in, I've had enough and want to escape from this nomadic life. Original poster, U/Educational Army 915. My parents decided when I, 18 feet, was only around 7 years old, far too young to have an opinion on anything, to pack us up and move into an RV to travel around the US. My dad works online, and my mom creates content online. She's not huge by any means but big enough that we get recognized sometimes, and big enough that I've had a camera shoved in my face for as long as I can remember. For privacy's sake, I won't say anything else about that. I sleep in a tiny bunk bed that I outgrew years ago, and the other bunk is the only space I have to store anything I own. I don't even have a room, just a curtain. Thank God I'm an only child, or else I'd have to share the little space I already have. I was homeschooled for most of my education and switched to online school for high school at my own insistence. I'm an 18-year-old girl, and I don't have a single in-person friend because the longest I've ever stayed anywhere is a month. I don't have a job and no way to get one because we're always moving, unless I find something online. This also means I have no way to move out and get away from them. I've had countless conversations with them about all of this, but they're so delusional and genuinely believe that a nomadic existence is the best way to live. They act like I'll never need anything else. I hate them for treating me like a pet they can drag along in their plans rather than their child. I hate traveling. I don't like the heat. I hate dealing with bugs. And I'm so sick of hiking. I can't wait for the day I finally figure out a way to escape their morning hikes and the constant cameras in my face. Sure, I've traveled around the US, but God forbid I want a normal life, go to college or maybe even make some friends. Apparently, that's asking too much. I would appreciate hearing any advice you have. Update 1. Hello, barely over a week ago, I made a post talking about my very negative experience living in an RV with my parents for around 10 years now. Despite it being such a short time since I posted, a lot has changed for me. I don't know how many people here would be interested in an update on my situation, but I know quite a few people were very concerned and would probably appreciate an update, so here it is. Also, fair warning, I have a tendency to ramble. I had a lot of people give me really helpful advice, resources, and even offers to try to help personally, some being questionable, admittedly, but a majority were genuinely concerned and wanted to try to help, and I very much appreciate that. It was slightly overwhelming, to be honest, and I ended up not responding to a lot of people, so you'll all have to forgive me for that. Even though I didn't respond much, I have been doing research on a lot of the information people gave me. Something that stood out to me was people asking if I had any family I could stay with, to which I had to respond, not that I know of, because I don't have anyone on my dad's side of the family, and my mom has strictly no contact with her family. I did not know if they were alive, if they cut her off, if she cut them off, or even any details about them. My mom had never wanted to talk about it. The only information I had was my mom's maiden name, which is pretty uncommon, and where she was born. Surprisingly, in terms of trying to find family, that can actually get you pretty far, I've come to realize. I've always had a slight hatred for the internet because I never had any choice in my life being public knowledge, and I know that once something is out there, it's out there. But for the first time, I'm actually really grateful for the internet. I was able to find some information on my mother's side of the family and specifically was able to find my grandma's Facebook account, though it did take me some effort. After a lot of stressing over how to approach messaging her, if I even should, as well as potential outcomes, I finally messaged her. I explained my mom's life, who I was, and my situation. I won't go into details about why my grandma and my mom are no contact, because that is not my story to share. But my grandma was appalled to learn that she has a granddaughter she didn't even know about, and even more appalled by the way her daughter raised me. I found out I have an aunt and an uncle, both of whom my grandma told about me and my situation. I've been in pretty much constant contact with all of them since then, learning about each other. They all want to help me get out of this living situation with my parents. Luckily, with me being 18 now, it's actually possible. Again, I don't feel entirely comfortable going into details, but I have arrangements to stay with my aunt, who lives in a big city on the West Coast with lots of potential opportunities for me to start college or pursue whatever I see fit, which I'm happy to announce I do plan on figuring out. My uncle has kids, but my aunt lives alone and has a spare bedroom, which she's happy to let me use for as long as I need. She purchased a train ticket for me and sent enough money to get me to the station. I'm currently talking with my family, still feels weird to say, and trying to plan out the details, like how or if I'm going to tell my parents. My mom doesn't know where any of her family lives, so even if I told my parents who I'm going to live with, they wouldn't know where I am specifically. Someone pointed out that if I leave without telling them, I should leave a note or some proof that I left willingly. If I do opt out of a conversation, I'm planning to either leave a note or film a video explaining my plans and why I'm leaving, which would be kind of ironic, wouldn't it? Regarding my mom's filming, I've been very quiet around my parents and refuse to talk when the camera is on. So far, neither of them has mentioned it, which is lucky. Speaking of my mom's content, I want to emphasize something quickly. Almost everyone was genuinely trying to help, but a few people tried to guess who I was. Luckily, the few I saw were basically torn to shreds and ended up deleting their comments. I also had a few people message me privately, trying to guess who I am, which at least isn't public, I guess. Although I understand being curious, I posted anonymously with very little personal information for a reason. As I stated in my previous post, I've gotten enough attention and am very much sick of it. I would really appreciate it if you all could respect that. Even if you think you know who I am, please don't make public guesses. Understand that I don't want this to become even more public information tied to my name. Very long story short, I have set plans to leave in a safe place to go with my aunt once I do. I very much appreciate the people who were so willing to help. If you had told me not even 2 weeks ago that not only would I have a plan to move away from my parents, but I'd also have contact with family members I didn't even know existed, I don't think I would have believed it. I'm currently not planning on making another post updating this, but wanted to let anyone who was concerned about me know not to worry. Genuinely, thank you. Update 2. Hello, it's been a while, and I wanted to check in here to hopefully give a few people some peace of mind. In my last update, I explained that I had gotten in contact with my mother's side of the family and had a place to go stay. I'm proud to announce that I did it, and I'm now in a safe place, completely away from my parents with absolutely zero contact. My aunt is an absolute angel, truly. She's so kind, and that doesn't even include my grandma and uncle. When I first got here, my aunt and grandma took me out on a little shopping spree. They bought me clothes, decor, and furniture for my room, because I have one of those now, and honestly, they got me anything they thought I would need. My uncle introduced me to my cousins. He has a younger son and a daughter who's very close in age to me. I would say we've become friends. I've been able to go out and do a lot of fun little things with her. My aunt is currently helping me research colleges near us but has reassured me I can take everything at my own pace. There's no rush, and her home will always have a spot for me. My aunt is such a cool person. She's someone I very quickly started to look up to and have gotten close to. The more time we spend together, the more we learn that we actually have a lot in common. I'm just so grateful to all of them for being here and being so supportive. My aunt is also really helping me figure out who I am as an individual. For the first time, I'm in charge of my identity, what I share, and who I share it with. I dyed and cut my hair, got a nickname, and have been exclusively going by it. My cousin is currently helping me figure out what makeup I like. She's also introducing me to her favorite music groups as a self-proclaimed cringe but free K-pop fan. I have an entirely private Instagram account with all of 5 followers, and I plan on keeping it that way. I just feel like a normal teenage girl for once, and I've never felt happier. When I look in the mirror or think about my life in general, I'm actually happy with it. I guess I never realized that I wasn't comfortable with my identity as a person because, honestly, I had bigger things to worry about. This is all more than I could have ever imagined, and honestly, I sometimes have a hard time processing it. I am officially in therapy now. So, maybe I can start working on that, as well as processing my past and how it plays into my identity moving forward. My new therapist is actually part of the reason I'm making this update. She thinks that posting this could be a good way to get closure, to a certain extent. It's a way of acknowledging what I went through, but also moving on into my new life, because I have my whole future ahead of me, one that I'm very excited to experience. Keeping that in mind, this will be my final update on here. I want to be able to enjoy my life and my future while keeping my privacy. A lot of people really wanted me to share my story more, expose my past, but at least for now, I've decided against that. It's my story, and I can choose to share it or not. For once, I have control over who gets to know what information about me, and I'm not willing to give that up yet. Of course, I don't know what the future holds, but for now, I'm asking as nicely as possible that people please respect that. I absolutely appreciate the support and advice so many of you have given me. Just know that I'm safe, I can honestly say I'm happy, and I'm planning out my future, what I want to do with my life and who I am, beyond just being a persona on camera. So, thank you so much for everything, and goodbye.